Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Governor's 2021 Future Ready Iowa Summit will be starting in 5 minutes. Please take your seats. Thank you.
everybody's comfortable just using the stairway, saves him from Okay. Thank you. Good morning. It is 9 o'clock high. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody, to the 2021 Future Ready Iowa Summit focused on transforming education for the workforce. It is so nice to finally see you all again. Welcome. I'm Jeff Weld. I'm the director of our governor's STEM Advisory Council, and our council is very proud and pleased to be hosting this event on behalf of so many future-ready Iowans. In fact, I want to just launch with a recognition, if you don't mind. I'd like to invite everybody in this room who serves presently on the Governor's STEM Council or who has served in the past to please stand and be standing, because I'm going to add to my standing invitations. So council members, please stand and hold your applause, because I'm going to invite some additional accompaniment to the standers. I'd also like to invite regional STEM board members from any of Iowa's 6 STEM regions, past or present, to join the council members standing, and hold your applause, because I'm going to continue adding. Program staff, my partners up at the University of Northern Iowa, our regional STEM managers, if you would please stand as the staff for the council, thank you, and stay standing as I invite committee members. We operate a number of committees. We have over the years. If you've served on one of our committees, please stand and join in. And let's add the investors. We have a number of wonderful sponsors that made today possible, and others who have invested in our STEM Council. If you're one of those, please join the standers. And the Hub PI institution supervisors, if you don't mind. The Hub system operates at 6 institutions. If you run one of those, please join the standers. And let me add partners. We have deep partnerships with a number of organizations that are represented in this room. If you're one of our organizational partners, please join the standers. If you're a provider of programming services for the council, if you've provided a scale-up or other such service, please stand. And finally, I think I'll invite anybody who's implemented one of our solutions. If you operate a STEM Best, or if you've done a scale-up, or if you've received a STEM Teaching Award, or you've taken part in a festival, or you do IT Academy or programs I'm sure I'm not going to remember, please join in the standers. And I think I've captured the STEM mosaic in the room. If in any other way you're connected to the Governor's STEM Advisory Council, please join the standers at this time. And I just want everybody to look around at this incredible foundation we have to build upon. Iowa STEM has been building future-ready young Iowans for a decade now, and with all of you engaged, we've made wonderful strides, but we've clearly got a long ways to go yet, and that's further engagement of subpopulations across the states. So join me now, if you don't mind, in a round of applause for these trailblazers. We're all quite grateful to you. Thank you. Today's event was planned and dreamed up for April of 2020. Does anybody remember what happened then? Yeah, sorry. So it got canceled, rescheduled optimistically for fall of 2020. And there too, no, not ready yet. So we canceled that, and then we rescheduled for spring of 2021, feeling pretty optimistic about last April, but no, not ready yet. So we rescheduled it for fall 2021, and here we are. Fourth time is a charm. How about a round of applause for all of us for turning out today? A quick overview of the sequence of the events for the day, how the planning team envisioned today to happen. We thought we'd begin, of course, with some VIP guest welcoming here in just a second, and then some what we called straight talk. We want to hear from some of the Iowans who are depending on us for future readiness, and they're going to give you the straight talk from their perspectives. And then we're going to react to some of what we're hearing, and we'll showcase some of the best things happening in Iowa downstairs through 2 sessions. And then back up here, we'll hear from a delightful guest who's come to join us and frame the future readiness of our state. And then we'll wrap up with some leading thinkers across the spectrum of future readiness preparation and close once more with a special guest wrap-up. So that's the overview of the day. Let me get us started by welcoming to the stage a vigorous, future-ready Iowa motivated visionary leader who has co-chaired the Governor's STEM Advisory Council for all of its 10 years. I'm speaking, of course, of our Honorable Kim Reynolds, Governor of the great state of Iowa. Help me express our appreciation for her leadership in leading this future-ready state.
Good morning. Oh, you don't know how exciting it is to stand up here and look out over this crowd of energized and motivated and passionate people that are so engaged in making sure that our young people have every opportunity to be successful, and especially to have that opportunity right here in the great state of Iowa. So thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. I think Jeff said over 700, so that's a great turnout, and thanks for your patience and hanging in there with us to finally make this happen and just really put that pedal to the pedal to the floor, whatever that thing is. I'm a little disoriented. Keep this thing going as good as it is, so thank you. And Jeff, thank you for your continued leadership, passion, drive. You are everything STEM, and you motivate me, and I love working with you and your team and all of you. I think it was evident by the number of people that stood up when Jeff was talking, how it really does take a lot of collaboration and a lot of people working together to make this happen. So thank you to all of you. I want to give a shout out to my dynamic co-chair, Diane Young. I sent her a text and said, I had you on one committee, you did such a great job, I'd like you to come be the co-chair with STEM. And she has just embraced it from the minute that I walked into your business and you were showcasing how you were bringing young people in and showing them the opportunities that exist in rural Iowa and really energizing them about great career paths and that it can happen, honestly, anywhere in the state of Iowa. So thank you. Lieutenant Governor, thanks for stepping in last night, and thanks for your passion in helping this happen all across the state of Iowa. I appreciate the partnership as well. So good morning and welcome to the Future Ready Iowa Summit, Transforming Education for Workforce. And you know, it's been a long 18 months for every single one of us, and you all deserve a round of applause for just doing everything that you have to really help us get through the last 18 months. And you know, at a time when our youth has really endured just a uniquely disruptive 18 months, your willingness to come together to collaborate in building a future-ready Iowa has never been more important. And you know, we talk about partnerships and the collaboration that has to take place, but when you look across the room, and as I stood out as people were coming up the escalator, you know, it was business leaders, school teachers, economic development drivers, college professors, workforce trainers, nonprofit advocates, community connectors, and elected officials. So this would probably be a good place for me to stop too and just say, are there any legislators in the room? And if there are, would you please stand so we can recognize you? Well, let's give them a round of applause anyway, because they've been very instrumental. in helping us get this happen. Thanks for your support. It's incredible to have such a wide array of stakeholders committing to the challenges ahead of us, and it is going to take every one of us in the areas that we all represent to work together and ensure that our schools and our communities offer the types of innovative and inspiring classroom and work-based learning opportunities that really ignite our students' potential and set them on a future-ready path. And as I'm in schools and look at the programs that are being offered in different communities, it really is inspiring for me to watch these kids be engaged and just excited to be doing the things that they have the opportunity to do. This is actually Future Ready Iowa Summit number 5. We began in 2016 and have convened every year since, except for last year, as Jeff acknowledged. Veterans of past summits are going to find some familiar themes today. We're going to talk about Iowa's talent pipeline. Is it strong enough to meet the demand? I can tell you, again, as I travel the state and talk to employers, they are screaming for workforce, and so there's a lot of opportunity there. Iowa's Future Ready goal of 70%, having 70% of the workforce have education or training beyond high school by the year 2025. Are we on the right track to make that? Iowa's education systems and economic systems, are they in sync? So are there gaps? Are we missing opportunities? Are we duplicative in what we're doing? Do we have too many programs? Lots of questions in that arena. But you're also in for lots of new conversations as well. You're going to hear from youth. Are we getting them future ready? You'll hear from employers across the skilled trades and white-collar professions. Are they finding the right talent? You'll hear from educators in partnership with employers who are exploring new and innovative solutions to these vexing challenges that we hear about every single day. You'll hear about our efforts on work-based learning and computer science and the 21st century equivalent of learning to read. Computer science is that. And you'll get a special treat when you hear from Emily Calandrelli, the star of the hit Next Flick show, Emily's Wonder Lab, whose own journey will inspire you. I understand she has quite a personal story, and I'm anxious to hear more about that. Today, I think another really thing that we can be proud of in the state of Iowa is the fact that Iowa truly is in a strong position. We have an economy that is booming. We do have low unemployment, which presents a lot of other challenges to our employers across the state. But if we want to turn really the encouraging short-term trajectory into long-term broad-based prosperity, our businesses and industries need a fresh wave of talent to fill the many opportunities that they're offering. So the best solution is to help more Iowans attain the job-ready skills they need, and that will come in large part from the deeper connections between educators and employers, which is exactly what this summit is all about and what we'll be facilitating today. So again, just thank you for being here, for committing to the effort to transform education to workforce, and most importantly, to just, look at every student, every child, and make sure that we're connecting them with the amazing opportunities for them to be successful and to reach their full potential, and to do that right here in the great state of Iowa. So 5 hours from now, I hope you leave here energized and better prepared and newly committed to making Iowa future ready. Thanks. Have a great summit.
Thank you so much, Governor Reynolds. Your vision brings out our A games. Well, we've got to bring our A games because there's a lot of Iowans counting on the people in this room and counting on people like us who didn't make it to this room. The stakes are exceedingly high, but the rewards are going to be ginormous, if that's a word. And there's 2 constituencies that have a case to make for you and me today. One key constituency, as the governor mentioned, are Iowa's youngsters, definitely counting on us all to help them be future ready and all that that means. And daring to speak for all Iowa youngsters is a precocious young man, a 9th grader at Sioux City West High School, by the name of Langston Singh. Let me invite Langston up to stage, and you'll be able to meet him yourself. Langston?
Good morning. As you heard, my name is Langston Singh. I'm 13 years old, and I'm going into the 9th grade at the West High School in Sioux City. I'm here to represent and speak for the young people, the students of Iowa. I'm here today to tell you my story, a story which I hope you will make more common in the coming years for Iowa students. First, I want to say that I'm very happy to be here today. It's been a year and a half since I was last able to speak to a crowd. But within that time, I've changed a lot. I look pretty different from the guy who had to stand on milk crates to reach the microphone. But hey, during that time, everyone's lives have changed a lot. The pandemic has likely changed, in some ways, the way we learn and the way we work forever. We found ourselves suddenly thrown into a virtual world where computers were necessary to do almost anything. That time gave us our first good look at the possibilities and the challenges of working from home. I, for one, was ready for that challenge. And the first day of our learning, I logged in early and I helped guide one of my teachers through setting up the meeting. With everyone quickly learning to use new technology together, the students weren't just learning, sometimes we were teaching. You see, the pandemic was an interesting time for me because from as early as I can remember, I've had a fascination with computers and technology. That interest was so strong that I asked my parents to transfer me to Les Hills Elementary in the 1st grade. That school had a curricular focus on computer programming, and that was something that was almost completely unique to that school at the time. But it should be more available in Iowa schools. The computer science curriculum at my elementary school taught us many things about computers. They taught us how to use the hardware, some of the software, and they even taught us the basics of programming the computers. I remember how excited I was after learning how to copy and paste. I was probably more excited than I should have been, but learning anything about my computer interest was a treat to my 8-year-old self. All students should have the opportunity to experience that magic at school. So I was practically bursting with excitement when I learned how to use the Microsoft Office suite. Learning how to use PowerPoint was particularly magical. I mean, isn't that what 3rd grade should be all about? Learning how to create a slideshow with unique art, transitions, and effects, and multiplication tables too, I suppose. But of course, it wasn't all magical. I also learned something that most people don't learn until later in life, that Excel is complicated and can be downright infuriating. When my time at Les Hills Elementary was complete, I learned the basics of computer programming, and I was hooked. I had already enjoyed using programs like PowerPoint as a creative outlet, so I really loved the concept of being able to make interactive programs. That early start really cultivated and developed my interest in computers. Now I could make them do anything I wanted them to. More kids should have that opportunity to develop that superpower in school. So next came middle school. With a strong foundation in computers, more learning opportunities were opening up for me. I was able to take a computer programming class, and there was a course exclusively dedicated to creating and editing audio and video files. This class gave me an outlet for creative expression while also enhancing my skills with technology. And these skills were useful in other classes. For example, this past year, for my history project, I created a video about the creation of the Santa Fe Trail, featuring the man himself, William Becknell, the pioneer who helped pioneer the trail. Okay, so it wasn't William Becknell, it was me in a wig and a gray mustache, but with some green screen technology and a little clever video editing magic, no one could tell the difference. And of course, let's not forget that actual computer programming class itself. During that course, I realized just how far ahead I jumped thanks to my elementary education. For our final project, we were given free rein to create whatever we wanted. I created a video game. The goal, conquering the solar system. You pilot a spaceship, dodge obstacles, fight other spaceships, and take over enemy planets, all while fighting the gravity of the sun. With the skills I had learned in elementary and middle school, I was able to program my own game from scratch, including gravity simulation, which I assure you is not easy to get right, and much of which I borrowed from my physics class, and conquer the world. Multiple worlds, actually. So when you've conquered the world in middle school, where do you go from there? High school, of course. And once again, I have the answer right in my city. My city school district has a program called the Career Academy. Our Career Academy offers classes and experiences that focus on the skills we will need for our future careers, the jobs of tomorrow. Shouldn't all school districts have one of those? With all my experience so far, a career in computer science is one of my top choices. I'm planning on beginning my journey at the Career Academy with a course called the Computer Science Essentials to build on what I've learned so far. From the computer science focus in elementary school to the expanded technology classes in middle school and the Career Academy options available to me as I start high school, I will have been given great opportunities with a consistent through line, a through line leading all the way to the workforce. I would like to see my story become the common story for Iowa students. The opportunities available to me should be made available to all students. And that is my challenge to you today. You can make that a reality if you invest in the programs that teach technological skills early. Invest in the methods that build and nurture those skills. And invest in a curriculum that provides a pathway to tomorrow's workforce. If you can meet that challenge, then you'll not be just investing in our future, but you'll be investing in Iowa's future. So let's make that happen.
So the charge we heard, let's make Langston's story the common story for Iowa youth. We can't make Langston common. He's very uncommon. But we can certainly make his experience common. Thank you so much. So Langston sets the tone from the perspective of Iowa's youngsters for future readiness. Thank you so much. His counterparts, another constituency that we're all here to connect through a future readiness perspective, are Iowa's employers, business and industry. And so the counterparts to Langston from that realm, I'll invite up now. Carrie Gumm, Andrew Rolfs, Diane Young, please come up. And while you do, I'll introduce you. Carrie Gumm is with Principal Financial. She's the Learning and Organizational Effectiveness Head. Andrew Rolfs is at Interstates Electrical in Sioux Center, where he's Development and Training Manager. And Diane Young, owner, founder, technical director at Foundation Analytical Laboratory in Cherokee, Iowa, and, as mentioned, co-chair with our governor of the STEM Council. So let's hear first from Carrie Gumm on future readiness. Carrie?
Thank you, and thank you for having me here today. I do have some prepared notes, because otherwise I'll go way over talking about this particular topic. First of all, just a little context. If you aren't familiar with Principal Financial Group, we're a financial services organization, 18,000 employees located around the globe. The largest concentration of our talent is here in Iowa, with that primarily in our global headquarters here in Des Moines. My work beyond that title, at a most basic level, my team focuses on understanding what are the skills that we need within our organization, what are the skills that we currently have available, what's the gap between those two, and then how do we best solve for it. So today, during the few minutes that I have available, I want to talk a little bit about the demand that we're seeing, the impact of that demand on our organization, and then what are opportunities that we see in terms of helping better solve for that. So first of all, a little bit about the demand. We benefit from having access to a few labor market tools that help us just understand how things are developing across the state. And using those insights, and again, you can get slightly different numbers depending upon where you look at, but all of them generally paint the same picture of a highly competitive environment when it comes to STEM-related skills and STEM-related talent that we're going after. Right now, across the state, in positions that are similar to which principals are currently recruiting for, there's about 25,000 existing openings. And again, that's using a somewhat narrow definition even of STEM type of roles. Now, for every one of those openings, there's about, on average, 8 individuals who are considered qualified for the opportunity. So for every one of those openings, all of us employers are going after those 8 candidates with as much fervor and energy as we can, which obviously creates a huge amount of complexity. And it also means that we are, frankly, not filling the jobs as quickly as we need to. On average, it's about 60 days to fill any one opening, 2 months where we are not meeting the demand, we aren't meeting the needs of our business. And again, principal is experiencing those same trends. Our times to fill have been increasingly getting higher. And I would say the last point, and perhaps one of the most important points, is looking at the diversity of the talent itself. So not only are we not seeing the amount of talent that we need, on average, again, about less than 1/3 of the talent that we're going after is female and or a person of color. And that trend has not necessarily been moving as quickly in the direction as we need to. So all of that creates, again, just a really complex and challenging environment that we need to find creative ways to solve for. And so the impact for principal, on average, we have between 400 and 450 available openings at any given time. Depending upon the week, between 35 to 40% of those are focused on STEM-related talent. And so when you think through those compounding impacts, and then within our organization, again, the demand and the need to really rethink how we're going about this is critical. So what do we do about that? First, I want to acknowledge the fact that there are really 2 things we're faced with. One is just the exponential change that is impacting organizations like Principal Financial Group. Just the amount of impact that technology is having on us is changing every single day. Principal is 140-ish years old. I would wager that the amount of change that we've seen over the last 5 years probably surpasses the amount of change we saw in the prior 135 years. And that will continue to happen. And so the challenge in front of us and each one of you is how to find ways to continue to stay ahead of that change in a really dynamic way. The other challenge that we'll spend a little bit of time talking about is the fact that while we can't we're going to try to solve for the short-term needs that we have right now, the reality of it is we have to have a view of how we need to adjust and change ourselves over the next 5, 10, 15 years so that we're seeing the talent that we need long in the future. And that's where, again, the partnership and collaboration for each one of you is going to be so critical. So I do have a few thoughts, and again, apologize, this is where I'm going to look at my notes a little bit better. So first of all, what are the key skills that we are seeing are most critical for students to have coming out of any level of education that they're working with? And I don't think any of these will be necessarily surprising, but problem-solving ability, agility to use and continue to learn different technologies, someone who's collaborative in nature, can iterate quickly. We work across so many different time zones, geographies, countries, business lines, and that will always be the case. And so we need individuals who have the ability to flex and move as quickly as possible. And we also work in an agile environment, which means things can change really quickly. We have to be able to adjust really quickly, and we need talent who has the capability to operate within that. We also are looking for individuals who's consultative and comfortable in acting with limited information, because the work that we're doing is adapting and transforming so quickly. So individuals have to have a comfort level in doing that as well. So in recognition of that, and wrapping up my part of it, because I think I probably am already over, there's 3 areas that I'd really ask each one of you to lean into and focus on. So one is educators. It's staying on top of the technologies that we know are going to continue to influence and impact our organizations, whether that's cloud as a platform, AI, and please know that everything I'm saying here is true for employers to do as well, but it's just an opportunity for educators to really lean into it. Second, present students with scenario-based work that's based on problem solving and collaboration. So in addition to learning the concepts It's how to apply the concepts within the business environment that we're talking about. And then finally, and I love Langston's example because it's perfect for all three of these, for this one in particular, we have not yet reached a visual representation of diversity in these roles that makes it easy for a young girl or a young diverse individuals to see that there's a ready path for them in these opportunities. We just have to recognize the fact that that means we have to provide additional support, communication, examples, so we can start to increase the long-term diversity of talent within these particular roles. And that begins so early in their careers. And so finding ways to really rethink how we're approaching that going forward ultimately is going to ensure that we're going to have the right individuals in these positions years from now. So finally, as I mentioned before, this is a collaboration. Principal, among all the other employers sitting up here, knows that it has to be something that happens in partnership with one another, whether that's us offering externships for teachers, internships for students, or just taking the time to have these conversations. Just know that we see this as an opportunity and, again, a critical need. So thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Andrew Rolfs, and I'm here with Interstates. And many of you may not have heard of Interstates before, but we're an electrical contractor based out of Sioux Center, Iowa, and we work across the globe. We've got about 1,200 employees, and we do electrical engineering, automation, construction, and IT work. Before I get started, I'm going to ask you to reflect on something. I want to ask you to reflect on what did it look like coming out of college? What did it look like with your first job, that first degree? What did that wage look like? And thinking back, and if I think about my own personal situation and the opportunities that were available to me, and thinking about where STEM is going, and the opportunities for students and the opportunities for people with all sorts of backgrounds to have great wage opportunities, they're out there today. So I want to talk to you today about two typical positions at Interstates. And I want to talk to you a little bit about, quite honestly, what that looks like from a financial impact, from a wage impact for those individuals in those positions. I want to talk a little bit about what Interstates has done, what we are doing, and what we need from you, what we need from educators, what we need from high schools, what we need from the education background to continue to partner with us. So the first position I want to talk a little bit about is a non-traditional STEM position. I want to talk a little bit about an electrician, right? So many of us think of an electrician as an individual that maybe wears a tool belt and works with their hands, but that's changed over time. Right now, our electricians are using iPads, they're using virtual reality, they're using AI. They're oftentimes highly technical, two-year degreed individuals that are growing within our organization. If I think about what my wage was coming out of a four-year degreed school, and I think about some of these new electricians that are easily making 55, 60 grand a year, it's really cool to see those opportunities for those individuals. Oftentimes, they're growing within the organization. We've got electricians that are running $20, $30, $40 million projects. Electricians that are responsible for leading up to 100 people. Electricians that are easily making into the six-figure income. And these are the individuals that maybe they struggled through some of the traditional educational paths, right? They may have worked with their hands a little bit more. They may be those students that were an opportunity for you educators to look differently at. But yet they were technically minded. And that STEM background, while it reaches these traditional careers, it may also reach some of these non-traditional careers. The other career opportunity I want to talk a little bit about is cybersecurity. And as we think a little bit about the industries and the reach that cybersecurity has, we've all heard of these ransomware attacks. And for every one that you hear about, I can assure you that there's dozens, if not hundreds, that you don't hear about. So at Interstates, we're protecting all sorts of industrial facilities. You can think about everything from the local grain elevator to the Pampers diaper factory, to maybe even your favorite brewery. All of those are vulnerable to cybersecurity attacks. And being able to have qualified, skilled cybersecurity individuals doing proactive cybersecurity measures to ensure the continuity of that, it's an important aspect. So if you think about a traditional 4-year cybersecurity degree with a couple of years of experience, these are individuals that are easily making 70, 80, 90K. And these career opportunities are allowing individuals to be successful. So what does that mean for Interstates? What does that mean for our organization? If we think a little bit about what that could mean, I can assure you, if we had the qualified individuals to fill the roles that we have today, we would be doing twice as much work. We could bring twice as much revenue into the Iowa economy. We could continue to bring those opportunities to those people. We're missing the link, right? Oftentimes we're missing the connection between showing those opportunities, whether it's a cybersecurity job, whether it's an electrician, just creating the awareness for individuals like Langston and other students to know that those opportunities are there. Well, quite simply, you're gonna say, what are you gonna do about it, Andrew, right? What have you done about it? So at Interstates, we've done a few things. We've continued with externships. We've provided job shadows. We try to get out into the classrooms. We've helped with diversity recruiting and bilingual recruiting, continuing to reach out. But the fact of the matter is we need you. We've heard that the students are willing. We've heard that they're ready. We've heard that that's what they want. I can assure you that industry is ready. We partner with some of our biggest competitors in the workplace, all about providing these opportunities to students. And we continue to want to work together. So we need you as educators, we need you as partners to continue to show these opportunities. And that's really what we're after today. So thanks for your time.
Well, thank you, Andrew, and extremely excited to be here. So I have a little different story, not nearly as large as these two companies. Very young company. This is our 11th year in business. And I own a contract testing laboratory in Cherokee, Iowa. So I have a passion for bringing the kids, us kids who graduate in the sciences, back home, or never leaving home. So my challenge was how to do that. I use a little different process, I guess. And so far it's worked for me, and I only have 29 employees. But we're in a community of about 4,000. And I will tell you that of my 29, 28 of us grew up within about 60 miles of Cherokee. And our culture is we're a group of highly educated Iowa farm kids who do what it takes. That's our culture. We hire for our culture. We are now the nation's largest ethanol co-products testing lab and are continuing to grow at double and triple digits every year, which is very exciting. And it gives us that great opportunity. Us being a little smaller also lets us hire differently. I've not put out a single ad for hiring. We always say to all of our team, who do you know that I need to know? And don't bring me your crazies, because you don't want them with you every day. So, how's that work for us? It's amazing for us. We actually target the people we want to work with us. So, I have a pipeline of about 15 that are waiting for me to have openings. And it's because somebody knew somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody who said, ooh, this is a great environment to be in. We have a great culture. We work really hard, so we can play really hard. and we do. That's what makes us a little different. We have, of our 29 employees, 10 were high school interns or college interns. And the college interns, if we liked them, they knew when they went back for their final year at their university that they had a job when they graduated. You know, we want people to be able to be in there. You know, as I mentioned last night, Cherokee is not known as a destination. And I never dreamt as a microbiologist or a scientist that I would be able to have a career in my backyard. And now it's amazing to have 29 scientists that grew up in the area. And it's not like they're all new graduates. You know, my average age is 30. So they're not like they've just graduated and we've been working on them for a long time. Our pipeline, we have a gal who is a senior in high school that knows if she continues on the path that she is, when she graduates from Iowa State in 5 years, she will have a career in Cherokee where she can be part of her community, she can make a good living, have a great career. My dad, who's 85, he says you can always tell that you have a great group of people and you pay very well because there's all these four-wheel drive pickups. So I always think that's a good thing. You know, we want our folks to be able to buy homes, you know, be able to raise families and, you know, give back. So that's what makes us a little different. We have one of our school to work kids that is finishing up her degree in chemistry because of her high school experience. And then she worked every summer all the way through high school. She graduates in December and she'll be back end of December, and she can't wait to start her career. So what that can help you all with is to understand that all of us as businesses are counting on you guys. You have the amazing opportunity as well as a difficult and amazing responsibility to change the trajectory of our state, not just the kids' lives, but each and every one of us. So the school partnerships, and as both of these guys mentioned, it's on us as businesses too. We need to be able to say, hey, what can we do? Because if we're not willing to invest our time, our efforts, our expertise, and you're not willing to invest your time, your willingness, and your expertise, we're not going to move this state forward. We have so much opportunity. And I think the businesses that get involved are the ones that are going to be extremely successful in hiring our next set of leaders and our next set of teammates. So, thank you.
Thank you, Diane, Andrew, and Carrie. One more round of applause, please. Thank you. Well done. Thank you. Very much appreciating those priceless insights. The charge is now clear between the youngsters who are counting on us, the business sector who are counting on us. We have marching orders. Now, as you process and react personally to what you've heard from Langston and from our three business leaders, we thought it'd be really interesting to invite a panel of education leaders to react out loud in real time. And miraculously, 5 agreed to do so. So inviting to the stage now, Cindy Dietz, of Raytheon Collins Aerospace is going to facilitate a panel of these thinkers. Cindy, by the way, is Associate Director of State Government Relations for Raytheon Collins Aerospace, and she'll be facilitating. I'd like to invite Stacy, Nancy, Marge, Mark, and Nathan to take a chair here at this time. While they come up, I'll just let you know who they are. Stacy Cole, Superintendent of the Storm Lake Community School District. Nancy Marozzi, Founder and Executive Director of Pi 515. Marge Welch is President of Southwestern Community College. Mark Wiederspan, Executive Director of Iowa College Aid. And Nathan Vanzani, 2021 Southwest Regional STEM Teacher of the Year at Lewis Central Middle School. So without further ado, Cindy Dietz, I'll invite you up to take the panel from here.
Thank you, and good morning. Yes, when Jeff calls, we all happily answer, don't we? But these are your experts, and I think this morning we heard already some words of inspiration from Langdon, as well as maybe some words of both encouragement and challenge from the businesses. And now with our panel of educators, we want to talk a little bit about how we bring these topics together. So I'm going to start with Marge from Southwest Community College, and just tell us who you are and a little bit about your organization and what role you play within the education system.
Okay, is this on? All right. So I am Marge Welch. I am the president at Southwestern Community College, which is one of the smaller community colleges in the state of Iowa. We are critical to the economy of our area. We are small, but we are mighty. I have served numerous roles at Southwestern. I started there years ago as a faculty member teaching chemistry and biology classes. I moved into administration there, and then I left for a number of years to have different roles at different institutions. And I am very honored that I have returned to Southwestern and what I consider my family at Southwestern to serve as the president now. I have been there for 2 months and getting reacquainted with Southwestern. We work very closely with the area in our industry. We are incredibly critical to the area. They rely on us to respond to their needs. We work very closely to develop programs that they need, provide trainings that they need, provide non-credit programs that they need. It's too numerous to mention. We are closely dialed into the high schools. We work very closely to provide the concurrent enrollment classes for our area high schools. That is a very important part of what we do now at Southwestern, which is, I believe, true for across the entire state of Iowa. Concurrent enrollment, students taking high school credit classes or college credit classes while in high school is very, very common now, and it's a wonderful opportunity for our students. As we add more career and technical education programs, we are finding that we can develop talented students that can move right into very good employment as soon as they graduate from high school. And we find that we have been able to help students find their path as they move right from high school into employment and stay in the area. It's critical in our state for us to retain our talented students, retain all of our students. All of our students have a talent, and our job is to help them find their path. And we can do that now with the help of some programs that we've put in place across the state. Guided Pathways has been an incredible program to help us start working with students right away. We help them remove barriers from their educational plan and get them right into the programs where they have natural talents and they just excel. And you can just see these students, the light just comes on in their eyes, and they just get so excited about the program that they have finally, sometimes they didn't experience this until they finally got into a program that they recognize is something that they not only are good at, but they love. And they also then can make a very good living and remain in the area where they grew up. And so it's critical that we continue to provide this talent to our workforce and prepare these students to our workforce. Sorry, that was a little long.
Well, you gave us a good jumping off point because Nathan is a science teacher, and he's going to talk a little bit about, one, how he inspires students like Langdon, but also students who don't really know what their path is. Tell us about what you do at Lewis Central.
Hey, yeah, my name's Nathan Vanzani. I'm an 8th grade science teacher at Lewis Central, and I'm one of the sponsors of Titan Plastics, and the other two are here as well today. But Titan Plastics, in case you don't know, is a plastic manufacturing program where we take recycled plastic like cups, bottle caps, bags, we melt them, sort them, shred them, and make new things. So they're making keychains, coasters, bowls, and then they're taking those products, selling them, and putting it back into our program. Now, when I say students are making these things, they're making the injection molding machines, so they're doing all the wiring for that, which are the PID controllers and the relays and all that, and they put the safety key switches on them, the forward reverse on our motors for the shredders. They're doing the wiring. I am teaching them, obviously. I don't just say go. But then after that, we have other students that are researching more about plastic, and we have others that are learning how to do the CAD and CAM, and that's where my expertise kind of falls out. So it's really good to have other teachers helping in the program. So we have another STEM teacher that's he's teaching the students how to design the injection molds, and so they're designing the injection molds, the machines, the plastic, and now they're making the products, and some kids are just focusing on the business part of it as well. But that's kind of what we do at Titan Plastics, and it's an after-school program. We're getting students that don't necessarily know much about anything or what they want to do, and once they just get their hands dirty, they just kind of find that they like doing this stuff. But yeah.
Great, thank you. Next, we're going to talk to Stacy Cole, and Superintendent of Storm Lake Community School District. And we know that Storm Lake has been a community that has accepted a lot of new individuals over the last 20 years or more. Talk to us about how a Northwest Iowa community has adapted to change and how that impacts the school and your relationships.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Stacy Cole. I'm the superintendent in Storm Lake. We serve about 2,600 students each year, and about 87% of those are students of color. Many are immigrants, many are refugees, and we are very proud of the work that we do in Storm Lake because we really do believe that no matter what the question is, the answer lies within our community, and it lies in embracing the brilliance that exists in the community, and it lies within the cultural wealth that exists in all of our communities. So I heard Carrie up here in the last panel talk about the importance of building a broad, diverse section of workers, and we are proud to heed that call of action and be a part of the entire state's solution and help put people into the workforce that our state is very much asking us to do. So thanks for having me.
Great, thank you. And as we know, the education ecosystem is built also not just, I will say, in the classroom at a K-12 school, but in our communities. And Nancy has created a nonprofit organization that helps deliver some of the education programming in the community. Would you tell us about Pi 515?
Yeah. Good morning, and thank you for being here, and thank you for the work that you do as well. So I am Nancy Wiratzi, a single mother who took on the task of loving many other young students, and most of them had come here as refugees. So in 7 years, I have seen hundreds of students pass through my hand, low-income students, and actually go into college. And right now we're celebrating some who are graduating and also getting job offers from Tesla and Facebook. So that's great, right? So truthfully, the work is not easy. When you come up with a concept, trying to build a community that has to think a little different so that kids can excel becomes very difficult. What I'm very proud of is the work that we decided to do in low-income communities. One thing we did first was peer mentorship. So, for example, if you're at East High School, we have a class, American Equity, comes and teaches the high school class on our behalf. We take those kids to American Equity, they get a job shadow, and after that, that was before the pandemic, we would give them a laptop to keep, because we thought it was very critical for kids' success to have access to technology at home. And then we ended up hiring those high school students to teach STEM in the middle school. And that's where our success has been. It has been through a peer mentorship approach. I believe kids cannot be who they don't see. And it's important that kids see that these jobs are available for them. So that's what I do.
Great, thank you. And last, we have Mark talk a little bit about Iowa College Aid. Your mission statement or vision is college changes everything. Tell me how you sort of are the foundation or the support of making dreams happen and keeping Iowans moving forward in their education.
Yeah, so we have the name Iowa College Aid, but we don't necessarily just focus on college. What we really focus on is post-secondary opportunities. So anything after high school. That's if associate's degree, bachelor's degree, short and long-term certificates, even apprenticeships. Our focus is that we want to support Iowans as they seek out any sort of opportunity after high school. And we kind of do that in two ways. One, we have a wide variety of community engagement programs, such as our Gear Up. Gear Up Iowa focuses on particular school districts that have a high low-income population. It provides support to those students to navigate them through the college decision process. And again, I'm saying post-secondary, I'm using college and post-secondary interchangeably. But going to college or even seeking out your post-secondary opportunities is not a quick decision. There's a set of processes that individuals need to take, and they need to realize what are the possible opportunities that exist. So that's what our community engagements programs really focus on. The second thing that we also do, we oversee the state's financial aid programs. We sort of have this mentality or this idea that there's particular barriers in seeking out post-secondary opportunities. One is academic fit. There could be that some individuals are just not academically prepared for whatever they're going to do. Two, it's financial, right? It could be a financial related issue that they just can't afford to go to college. And our sort of mentality is that college or paying for college should not be a significant barrier. And so we have a wide variety of state aid programs that we're really proud to oversee and administer. One that is very pertinent to this group is our Last Dollar Scholarship. That is a financial aid program that allows individuals to go to a community college or even an independent college that offers a degree in high demand jobs. And that allows the individual to go tuition free. I mean, that's, you know, they don't have to pay anything outside of their tuition. It's 100% covered. It's a really great program. We've seen tremendous growth with it over the last 2 years. I think 2 years ago we had about 6,000 students. Now we're up to 8. This year we're going to be around over 10. I would imagine. It's been really successful. So overall, Iowa College Aid, we're really focused on providing opportunities or letting Iowans know of what opportunities exist after high school, be it going to college, apprenticeship, or even going into the National Guard. We do a lot of work with the National Guard to provide students those opportunities there to go there too. So.
Great, thank you. So we heard Langston say, he was talking about what he wanted to do at first grade, about computers and stuff, but not every student, especially at that age, has that kind of connection, that understanding, that passion. They all have dreams. So in any way you want to address this, Langdon also talked about that through line. How do we make sure we're connecting? And I think this panel kind of addresses that as a through line. So I'm going to start with Nancy, but talk a little bit about, one, how you connect with students who don't have that kind of vision, and where you are in that through line process in terms of helping students move through, look for STEM opportunities, and hopefully stay and work in Iowa.
For me, it was very challenging at the beginning because most of my students came as refugees. So when I would talk to parents about the importance of just education, the parents would tell me, my child speaks English, so they're educated, right? I'm like, no, that's not what education is, right? So we started teaching parents just basic skills for parents to understand. To really work best with students, I think having parental conversations is very critical. Secondly, listening to that student. Every child has a story. If you can just spend a minute to listen to them, I think they'll tell you a lot more than you don't know. I'm always fascinated by young people. Actually, they're the best people I hang out with because their mind is very pure, it's authentic, and guess what? They're very adaptive. So you have to reach them at a level of understanding so that you can also show them that this is the way. Secondly, what I do, and I tell kids, as long as you are not married or something, you're still under my hands, you can bounce things, we're gonna hold you. You're not gonna break it, so try it anyways. So we do tech, but guess what? I also have students doing medical, and I didn't teach them medicine. It's just that I taught them critical thought and how to self-advocate for themselves.
Stacy, talk a little bit about how all this fits under administration in a school and a district and a building and those students and parents and all the pieces.
So I think it's important to start by saying that our education system is designed to do exactly what we see it doing now. And so I heard our community business partners up here today talking about really important skills that they need our kids to have. Tony Wagner, in his book, The Global Achievement Gap, would call those the global competencies. And so I think it's very important to note that what we're hearing from our business partners is that not all of our kids are leaving our K-12 system with those skills. And if we believe that's true, and we believe that systems are outputting exactly what they're designed to do, I think it's important that we start to rethink what our systems value, what our system thinks about learning and knowledge, and that it's our jobs as school leaders to work with folks like Governor Reynolds, who we're really excited is here today, right? And to clear the path for our teachers that are in the classroom doing these great things sometimes despite the policies that we have in front of you, right? What you do isn't easy, and I want to say thank you for doing that, because we sometimes put a lot of red tape in front of you. And I think it's time that we start a conversation about that, because that is the role of us in education, is to start to think about, if we want real change to happen, how do we become that very important cog in the wheel that helps that change happen? So I think that those of us in positions like you're in, where you're beating the odds and you're doing it with the best interest of your students, and those of us at the systems level that have more of a voice to lift the voices of the diverse students that come from other countries, it's time for all of us to come together to produce those students that our business partners asked us to do today.
Wow, thank you. Yeah. And Nathan, I know a little bit about Titan Plastics. You've talked about it. I think the student also this morning talked about how sometimes students are the teachers. So that classroom is changing. Teachers aren't the know-all at the front of the classroom anymore. So give us a little more insight into how you address that.
Yeah, so I like to think of how you were teaching parents about education. We didn't know what we were doing. I remember we bought a CNC mill with the STEM Best grant. We got it downstairs and looked at it and was like, now what? Like, we had no idea what to do, but luckily there's a lot of industries around. We could start asking questions. We got online and got help from that. I knew some basic wiring, but obviously not to the level that, students needed to know. So I started taking classes at Metro in Omaha and taking some wiring classes there. So now I can teach kids how to do that, give them some inspiration there. And the other teacher, Dustin Kern, by the way, shout out, sorry. He spent hours and hours and hours on Fusion 360 learning how to run the CNC mill. So now we're able to make our own injection molds. And this all started with a problem that we wanted to make plastic products, but to make plastic products, you have to make metal products for the empty cavity for the plastic. We didn't have that equipment, and we didn't know how to run the equipment. So we were trying to find people to help us, but they all had their CNC mills dedicated for certain jobs. They couldn't shut them down for what we were doing, so we bought one, and like I said, then we went ahead and I had to learn how to do the electrical stuff. He learned how to do the milling stuff, and now we're teaching the students how to do that. So then that way, they're able to, pursue those careers. And we have several students that didn't know what they wanted to do, and now they think they want to be an electrician, or maybe they want to be a CNC mill operator or a CAD designer, an injection mold. I mean, they didn't realize like all these job opportunities they could have, or the skills that they could develop as young as 6th grade. I mean, we had a 7th grader wiring up our shredder last year. Like, I mean, the fact that they can do that in 7th grade just tells you how smart these students are, and they just have to be given an opportunity to be able to show that.
Mm-hmm. Great. Yeah, thank you for enabling that, encouraging it. It's so important. I'll wrap up, I think, with the community college and college aid, but Marge, when you talk about the changes in education, that's very much applicable to the community college. Always been connected to the business, the workforce needs in the community, but have had some, traditional approaches. Again, classroom, 2-year degree, that's changing. When we're talking about cybersecurity, we're talking about AI and virtual reality, and how are you addressing those workforce needs in a different way?
Yeah, it's changing rapidly. So it's so exciting to hear both of you, all of you. It's so exciting to be at the community college right now, because there are so many opportunities to serve the students of today and to see them excel, and exactly what you guys are saying. So, we've created stackable credentials, so as soon as those students hit high school, they can start taking classes and get credit, so they're ready to go land those jobs that they're so excited about. We're working on every day we get some piece of equipment that I have no idea what it is. But the faculty are geeking out on it, and that's the main thing. So they're excited to bring that into the classroom and to teach how to use those particular pieces of equipment that we're going to serve the students when they go out into the workforce. We work with industry because sometimes we can't afford that equipment ourselves, and so the industry is very generous because they know how critical that is. It's just incredible to see what is happening now with the partnerships that exist between the K-12s, the community colleges, and industry. And that has to continue and expand because we have got to become more flexible and nimble than ever before. So, while we have stackable credentials, that's got to also shift as well, because stackable credentials have to be, the shortest term is essentially a year, and it's going to have to be even shorter than that as we move forward. So as we look, down the road, we're going to really have to recognize that industry changes so quickly, we're going to have to be able to adapt and shift to meet their needs. With technology changes, Langston just amazes me because I think I learned to cut and paste when I was 38, not 8. So we have to be able to really adapt to all those technology changes very, very quickly and be able to meet the needs of the state. This state is primed and ready to really explode and become one of the leading states in the country for what we can prepare our people and what we can do as a state. And so we have to be the ones that are going to make that happen. And we know we can. We just have to do this and be together on this and really move forward as one unit on this. So it's exciting. I'm ready for this. I love change. So let's get going.
I feel like some folks are about ready to jump off the stage here. Mark, you want to wrap it up?
I can't wrap it up after that.
I know. I feel bad for you, man.
No, yeah. The only thing I was going to say is in my prior comments, I kind of said that there was 3 issues facing students in making their post-secondary opportunities or post-secondary decisions. One, I talked about, academic aspect. I think that's sort of been discussed. I even, as they were talking, I was reflecting on it, and I don't recall ever having to know how to make a diorama of a book I read helped me in the future. And the second thing I was going to say is we talked about the financial aid, the finance. The third, and I didn't highlight on this, but this is something that Iowa College Aid works on, is we're noticing that a lot of students have information constraints, that they don't always know what opportunities exist after high school. Right. And I think that's sort of been highlighted up here, and I can't really expand on any more that's been said. But that's an important aspect, is what they don't know serves as a barrier for them to decide what to do. And it's vitally important to at least demonstrate to those students or to those kids of here's what the opportunities that do exist. And it could be through skill-based working. It could be even through the classroom of providing a particular wiring technique or something like that. And that's vitally important. So.
Yeah, well, and to have all the elements here to be able to, whether it's the student, the parent, or another adult mentor, as a resource, and to let them know that there's financial resources, there's, I'll say, emotional and educational resources, whether it's at the school, in the community, or elsewhere. So I'm just going to look at Jeff. Are we timed out? Okay. Thank you very much. Our education and future is in good hands. Thank you all.
Wow. I so wish we could have given these folks 2 hours, right? But we scratched the surface. Thank you, Cindy and panelists, for your remarkable insights. You've really queued up beautifully the sessions now to come. Downstairs for the next hour and 45 minutes or so, 2 back-to-back sessions, 4 sessions in each of the 2, all of it audio recorded. I know you'll regret being able to only attend 1 and then 1 of the 8, but rest assured, the other 6 are being audio recorded and they'll be posted to our website for archive listening at your leisure. So meanwhile, we'll adjourn now and head downstairs to see some of the best things going in Iowa, in 2 back-to-back sessions, returning here at noon for lunch. So please disperse and good luck, and see you back here at noon.